All right, as much as I hate to do this, it needs to be done. Obviously, you can invest a significant amount of time in making this perfectly beautiful. I'm not investing that much time in it. All right, now that all my riv nuts are in place, I can bring my panel over and start rough fitting it. I'm just putting a couple screws in there just to hold it. Want to look at my position for the slider. That looks pretty good, except I may want to cut this corner down. What I think is that corner is going to get in the way. Just looking at everything, I want to figure that out now before I start getting everything all bolted in. So back to the drawing board. I'm going to nick the corner down off of this and paint it again. We'll try it again. All right, let's see if that's better. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Okay, let's button her down. So these little 3/4 inch dudes are going pretty much all over the top. What I want to do is not get my soft top stuck in there. Is get them all started a couple of turns. But I want the whole thing to still be a little bit movable because some of them are going to be a little misaligned, I'm sure. Just the nature of the beast. If it doesn't want to go in, you got to ask yourself, why is it misaligned? Is it aligned right? It's just tight. And that's what that is, aligned right and just tight. Got these standoffs labeled 1, 2, 2 that are labeled 3, 1 that's labeled 4, and 1 that's labeled 5. Now they're all different lengths designed to meet different requirements. And you got a bunch of washers too if you need them for spacers. So I'm gonna look at the manual real quick and see if I can figure out which of these standoffs goes where and which bolts get used. All right, the spacers will go around starting over here with a 1. And this uses the 1.5 inch screw. Then 2 goes up in here, which is going to be a joy to get to. Not as bad as I expected. That gets one of the long guys. The 2 3s go right here. Then the number 4 Number 4 doesn't want to play nice. Let's find out why. Is it the angle of the dangle? Or is it just really snug? To find out if it's really snug, I'm using the small end. Yep, it's just really snug. All right. So far I'm happy with my alignment of my riv nuts. They've all done well. Finally, number 5. And that doesn't look like it's going to need any. I only wish I don't like the way this riv nut is acting. Well, I can't explain what's wrong with that riv nut, but pulling it all off to take a look at it. All right, guys, so I got it all on. Sometimes just a millimeter off on angle can give you a lot of heartache. So what I did is I pulled it off, basically re-ran the riv nut grade 8 bolt through. These strip so easily, so if you're trying to even like force it to thread, it just won't work. It's just going to strip. So what I found is these were the hardest ones, these ones with a big gap between, because it basically forces it into a certain angle versus these that are butted up almost close up. So what I found is if I start with these problem children first and leave all of these loose, then it seemed to work better. So right now I'm just gonna go through and suck everything up. And by the way, I didn't use any spacers. We'll see, but I think I'm not gonna use any of those washer spacers. This is the only one I question, but I think once I tighten it down, it'll be fine. So yeah, just gonna go through and start this process of sucking it all down. So each one of these I've already put a couple of threads worth through to guarantee there wasn't any cross threading. And now it's going to be sucking it up tight to the body. And I'm just loosely doing it now, sort of systematically, until I feel it snug up against the body. Yeah, none of these are so far off that really those washers will help. It's just getting them tightened down. Yep. Okay. All right, so now that I have it sort of test fit up there, I've tightened down these few bolts to get everything tight. I need to figure out where to drill 2 more rib nuts. And actually this has become very important because this is what's gonna really hold my lower piece down, especially since I cut off that one. So I'm gonna clamp this in place and then mark it, drill it, and put in 2 more rib nuts. Then we can final assemble this guy. Oh, and make note, these are the longer 1-inch size. All right, now, so I can cinch these down. And I'd be willing to wager a guess right about now that some of you are wondering why I'm not putting RTV sealant or some sort of a silicone sealant on this before I put it on. And the interesting thing is I thought a lot about that. I researched it. I did the RTV sealant on my boat sliders. But you know, I was doing some research, and in one of the forums, Mattson from Metalcloak actually responded to the question about whether or not you should, and he actually said he recommends against it because it tends to hold water and create more problems than without it. So I started thinking about it, and you can actually see it. So if you look even across the top here, you can see there's a little bit of a gap where that riv nut fits up against the body. It's like a little washer, like a spacer. And then you're bolted in through there, but actually water is able to flow all the way through and then out to the bottom. If you silicone seal this, you're actually going to prevent water from getting in theory, but if it does get in, now it's trapped in. So that's why they say not to. It is kind of interesting. I decided not to because of that, actually, that post. You know, when the manufacturer says, we recommend you don't do that, they probably have a good reason for it. And so yeah, I didn't do it. What do you think? Should I have? It's funny that I'm putting on body armor now, particularly corner armor. I don't know if you can see it, but right here by this bolt, actually, there's a dent. Got that dent the very first time I took my Jeep wheeling, and it wasn't my fault. I was parked at the top of a hill after doing, what was it, Crawler's Ridge out at Roush. And one of my friends that I was out wheeling with finished the obstacle after me and pulled up to park past me, and her bumper caught my license plate. The factory license plate sticks out here, the bracket. Caught it and then like bent everything in. And yeah, so I had my first damage was right here on the corner. And yeah, I wasn't even in the vehicle at the time. To be honest with you, I think that's been my most significant trail damage. I've been pretty darn lucky. All right, guys, I present to you the Metalcloak rear. It's the exoskin, which is the base for the rear overline fenders for the JK. Overall, super happy with it. You can see here where I had to do that cut mod. Turned out to be perfect. You know, I wish I could have kept a riv nut in this area. It just was not going to happen. It was like right there. I did what I did. You know, you guys may do something different. Maybe you could find a way to make it look cooler than what I did. In the end, it does its job. There is a little bit of lift off the body panel. Not a lot. I don't even think you can really see it. It's maybe 1/8 of an inch. But I do have down here, I don't know if you can see them, there's 2 riv nuts holding that base, and then 1 here. So I've got 3 points here. I wish I'd have had the 4th, but I didn't. That was my decision. You guys might do it differently. So now let's put on that fender. So you've got this stainless steel hardware, and they do give you some more. I've got some of this laying around. Bring out the big bottle. This one leaves me looking like Tin Man when I get done. All right, guys, so this is the finished look. I'll be honest, this is a couple of days after I finished the install because, quite frankly, the weather turned to crap on me at the end. So, yeah, it's all dirty now, but that's okay. You can see how it looks. The rears turned out great. The way they sort of forcefully integrated with my sliders worked out nicely. Of course, here's the sunnier side of the vehicle. You can see it's almost like they were meant to be, but hey, you do what you can. Anyway, I really like the coverage. I'm not used to this much tire coverage. Yeah, these are the standards with 1250 inch wide tires on, I think my back spacing's like 4.5 inch or something like that. So yeah, that worked out really well. So nothing additional really to note other than for the stainless hardware, you've got these sort of flat topped longer bolts, and then you've got the smaller button head bolts in stainless for the inside. So those went on nice and easy, and yeah, I think it looks awesome. Pretty stoked. So now I've got the whole package. Overclocked has been cloaked, with the exception of one thing, which I'm working on next, and that's these guys. We're going to finish off the rear corners and get those LED lights in, and then I will have full cloakedness on Overclocked. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.